or another. If there was,
Hey, yeah, I'm back.
I'd be more inclined to think
Check this out.
shift the cone and shift the forecast. But right now, as you kind of split the difference of all of the models, it still looks to be about where the center line is on the current forecast. So my guess, to be honest, is that they don't change it. Maybe if they do a slight adjustment, that might put that center line back over Baton Rouge, only based on the trend of the storm right now. But folks at the folks at the Hurricane Center may say, nah, that's just part of the wobble. It may go back to the more center line or just to the west, and they don't change it. Intensity-wise, I don't think they're going to change it, only because most of the models are actually only peaking at a 3. They probably won't change that, only because the atmosphere is still prime. Though the models are not saying that, it still looks like everything is in place for this to continue to explode in strength and continue to strengthen right up to the point of landfall.
It's very,
so
it's strengthening.
Later on tonight, we'll start to see some of the associated
When it get over on land, it's gonna weaken. Unless the rivers and the canals or whatever is. Let me shut up.
Still have, if you're planning to stay at home, that's what I was doing this morning. As my wife and kids were leaving, I was bringing everything inside or just bringing it up against the house, not creating any additional debris flying around once the winds start. Because once the winds and rain start, you are not going to want to be outdoors in this by any means. Even if we can keep the strongest of the winds right near the center and outside of Metro New Orleans, it is still going to be a nasty day all day tomorrow. The only silver lining is that it does look like it's going to be moving through very quickly. We'll still have the heavy rain. Notice that's still being fed in, that deep tropical fetch of moisture, still feeding the heavy rainfall in during the early morning hours of Monday. But it does look like as we get just after sunrise and toward the mid-morning hours of Monday, we are already seeing improving conditions. There is always light at the end of the tunnel. Here's a comparison of landfall and what the models are thinking. Now, this time is at the same. We're looking at the models both at Sunday, 11 p.m.
I hope this stay on YouTube,
moving inland, kind of
because I'm gonna watch this.
Marsh Island, so out toward Morgan City.
Channel 4 save this.
Notice, moving up toward Baton Rouge. Sunday, 11 p.m. GFS. Where is it moving? Right over Baton Rouge. So yes, there might have been a slight adjustment back to the east with the models, but not dramatically so. It just kind of brings the storm center back over Baton Rouge. So I stick to my statement that I made yesterday. It still looks like conditions are going to be worse in Baton Rouge than they will be in New Orleans. A very similar type setup that we saw in Gustav. We still had power outages here. I was here in Gustav in 2008. We still had power outages. We still had damage, but it was much worse in Baton Rouge. Matter of fact, a few folks here said, well, I was planning to send my family to Baton Rouge. No, go farther west, Lafayette. I have family in Lafayette. They left as well. Go to Lake Charles or even into Texas. If you're going to
go to Houston or Dallas.
Maybe Mobile, but even Mobile, notice, starting during the afternoon and evening, may start to see some tropical storm force winds. Kind of the same goes for the Florida coast, but if you're inland enough, it's not going to be nearly as devastating, and they're not going to see nearly the damage that we will in southern Mississippi and in Louisiana. Now, this is one of the Euro forecast products looking at the wind, so this doesn't exactly agree with what the National Hurricane Center is saying. You find the yellows, these are the category 1 and 2 force winds, so 70 to 110 miles an hour, and then the whites are representative of major hurricane force winds. That's going to be right near the center. We always talk about don't pay attention right to the center. Well, in this case you do, because that's where the strongest winds will be. Certainly right along our coast, from Plaquemines to Lower Jefferson, could easily find winds sustained of over 110 miles an hour for a brief period.
It's almost substantial right there.
Again, the Euro product with the Hurricane Center's forecast overlaid doesn't exactly agree. The storm here, based on the Euro, would have it taking a path right over Houma and Thibodeau. I heard from a viewer in Thibodeau saying, I'm going to hunker in. You think I'll be okay? I don't. I really don't, because you've got this passing directly over Houma and Thibodeau. So all of Terrebonne, most of Lafourche is looking at these major hurricane force winds. Now, things have kind of changed since yesterday. It certainly looks like we will see hurricane force winds, almost guaranteed, in Metro New Orleans. And at times, they may be in excess of 100 miles an hour. That's going to do some significant damage. And we know from experience, it doesn't take much to get power outages. So expect widespread power outages. River parishes, same thing, but you are more inclined to see the major 111 plus mile per hour winds. Then that wind field moves in the direction of Baton Rouge. So Baton Rouge certainly has a higher likelihood of the 110 plus mile per hour wind speeds as opposed to New Orleans, probably on the more lower end of that 70, 80, maybe let's say 80 to 90 mile per hour. Still, even just a 10 mile an hour difference can be a difference in just how much widespread damage. And this is a pretty wide swath of hurricane force or major hurricane force winds. So the damage is going to be fairly extensive. Something that was pointed out to me with Zeta and talking about how long it took for so many people to get their power back. The damage swath from Zeta was fairly narrow, and it was really just over most of our viewing area. This damage swath is probably going to be a great deal larger, so there's going to be more repairs that will be necessary to get power back on. So, you know, if I'm guessing, and I don't work for Entergy, obviously, but I would guess it would take longer to get power back on from Ida than it was from Zeta, and Zeta was a long duration, and the difference is it's not cool outside, and it's not going to be cool outside at all in the coming week ahead. We're also going to be watching for, with a landfall, and I did change this number here, it is a 2. There is a slight risk of severe weather tornadoes. Anytime you get a landfalling storm being on the eastern side, as those bands begin to set up, it's going to easily spawn some tornadoes. So expect tomorrow we're going to be constantly talking about tornado warnings being issued across the area. Rainfall totals, we are looking at the greatest swath right near and just to the east generally of the line, of the center line of where the storm makes landfall.
Gotcha.
You can also expect some heavy amounts wherever those bands begin setting up and moving in. And there are some times where the bands set up and you get 10 plus inches just to the east or west.
Because I guess I got to get out of here, y'all, but my AT want me to leave, so I got to get out of here.
During the day tomorrow,
y'all listen to Chris.
On Monday. The steering currents have been fairly on point. It's anchored, this upper high, along the east coast. That is keeping the storm moving up toward the northwest, and then we'll start taking more of a northeasterly track as the weakening high will make way for an upper trough that should start to drag this rotation and pull it out toward the Ohio Valley and up toward
High Valley and everything.
Wind shear is non-existent. There is still that upper low in the western part of the Gulf of Mexico, but look at the outflow from this storm. In other words, this is that exhaust where the storms are able to grow and intensify, and it takes the higher clouds away from the center. In other words, this energy is able to keep growing because it has the ability to kind of exhaust itself out into the atmosphere. If this was capped off, say with an upper low helping to shear the storms, that would help us out. Unfortunately, that is just not the case. And as we've been talking about that deep warm water, that's where the storm is right now. Now, at a point, it will kind of leave that deep warm water. However, in this region of the Gulf of Mexico, sea surface temperatures are in the upper 80s. It's going to have plenty of energy to work with in terms of further strengthening over the course of the day and going into much of the day tomorrow before landfall. So tropical impacts will begin tonight. Not much has really changed with the forecast. Again, we're waiting for the 4 o'clock advisory. We might see a little bit of a shift off to the east. If we do, it wouldn't be dramatic. We'll see if they do end up changing it. Landfall is likely. Landfall will be as a major hurricane on Sunday, and so your plan should be in place and executed. If you're leaving, really you should have left by now, because we've already seen what the traffic looks like on the roadways. If you're staying in place, hopefully you already have all of your supplies. If you do need to go out for any kind of errands to get something, hopefully it's near the home, because really trying to travel around the city is going to be very, very difficult at this point. And then by tonight and early tomorrow morning, you just need to stay in place wherever you end up being. Rain on radar, the storm is already starting to show up on our wide next radar. This is kind of a composite of all the radars across the country, and you're already starting to see those bands of the kind of very much outer bands of the rainfall that are now kind of within about 60 miles of the mouth of the river. So it won't be too much longer as the storm moves northwest that we will begin to see these passing showers moving through, and the tropical downpours are going to be heavy at times, with at times a very, or I should say, there is going to be a very high likelihood of flash flooding across almost all of southeast Louisiana from Ida.
All right.
Yeah, I'm done.
That was so funny, bro.
All right, good. Get a coffee, get some candy.
All right.
You have a long time to go. You're talking about
all right.
Actually, we're looking at some video and pictures of people who were pretty frustrated on the road.
Wait, let's see.
I mean, just sort of mass exodus of everyone trying to leave Louisiana.
Look at that.
But it's not just the roadways. Take a look. This is video inside of the airport. We
Hey,
shot this a short time ago. You can see all of these people trying to get out of town before the storm hits. Now, we don't know exactly what is the holdup here. We've heard some speculation that this had something to do with the number of TSA agents that were available. We know that there were a number of canceled flights. We know that some people went to the airport so that they could get out of town.
Well. That's a crowd up there, you know. Okay, so, yep. So we still watching this very carefully. We gonna get hit half of the city though, you know. Half of the city is gonna be hit by this storm, you know. But hopefully, no serious damage, you know. Well, the roof might come off and stuff like that, you know. You never know, okay. So hopefully, we'll be all right in this house, you know. But I don't think we gonna be in here. We not gonna be in here. We gonna be gone out this house, and I'm gonna walk around here and stuff like that, and go. All right. Like it's drizzling a little. Let's go outside and see how the weather looks so far. Okay. So we supposed to be gone in a minute. All right, let's go step outside. I feel like it's drizzling out here. Yep, the sun is in the clouds, as y'all can see around here, you know. Yep. I really don't want to get out of this house though, but I might have to, you know. I'm gonna probably come around here and I'm gonna probably be around here to you know. Hopefully none. Who that ice cream cup for? Hopefully everything will be all right in this house though. Yep. While some people prepare for this storm, okay. So the way I think about it, ladies and gentlemen, I got to be safe. Better safe than sorry. Even though we think it ain't gonna be so bad, you know. All right. So that's all we gonna do. That's all we gonna see, you know. Hopefully I'm gonna do my Facebook Live where I'm gonna be at. I'm gonna take my cameras and stuff, you know. Save enough fuel for this, but I gotta go charge this phone. Okay, the grass died right here, you know, because of that furniture and stuff right there. Y'all see the previous videos or whatnot, you know. I don't think y'all saw in the previous videos. All right, so I guess I'll see y'all when I see y'all. This Facebook Live has no title for some reason. Oh well, it is what the heck it is. All right, bye.